Morning, y'all. This is Danny with My Fig Sticks, where fig addiction, it's a real thing. Just embrace it. Y'all, this morning we're going to talk about my air layers. Five of them are ready to go. I'm going to up pot them. I'm going to show you the techniques that I've learned from a couple of big time YouTubers, right? So Cajun, Chuck, Homer, Figgy Ed, these guys are air layering and they're teaching all of people like me how to do it. And so I'm going to take a page out of each one of their videos. I'll reference them in each of the steps, but I'm going to show you how I am going to up pot my successful air layers. Let's take a quick recap on the different air layers that I have going. Now, this one, these two, I did the full girdle all the way around the limb. This one here has the HP Pro Mix, and you can see it is easily ready to come off. This one has my mixture that I start my seeds in. I'm going to give this one just a little bit longer, maybe another week or two. I don't think I'm quite where I want to be, so I'm going to wait. However, this one is ready to rock. Over here, these are the ones that I did the half girdle on. This one is HP Pro Mix. Y'all, it's rooted so much it's busting the soil pod open, so he's got to come off. This one is my mix, and you can see underneath here doing very well. So this one's going to come off as well. Y'all, the girdle on these is actually on the top, and you'll notice on both of these, there's more roots on the bottom. I'm convinced that that has to do with moisture. Every time I watered these soil pods, obviously the moisture went to the bottom, and that's where the roots seem to form the best. So, a little bit of learnings from these experiments, which is exactly why I did them. And last but not least, this is the method that I believe Homer with basement figs, or fig talk, I should say, uses. All I did was scratch the bark and cambium layer on these, and they both did extremely well. And so they're going to come off as well. This one is the HP Pro Mix. This one is my seed starting mix. Hard to tell a difference, but I do believe the Pro Mix on this one showed out a little more as well. All right, one last thing to cover before we get into the surgeries. A few things we're going to need. Y'all, I'm going to add some organic fertilizer. This is just a simple tomato veg organic fertilizer. It will break down over time. The fertilizer itself is 356 on the NPK. However, I have mixed in some blood meal to add nitrogen to the fertilizer. I've only got a couple of months, 8 to 10 weeks left of growth season. So I want that nitrogen in there to help my leaves and new green growth. But I also added some bone meal in there to help aid in the root growth. So we have roots. I want to make sure that they spread out. Again, 8 to 10 weeks of growth period left, and I want these cuttings to take off as fast as they can. I'm also going to have my pruners. Y'all, this is a little alcohol dispenser that I use when I'm using my Cricut machine and making different crafts for my wife. Right now, I'm working on wedding signs. So, and then back here, this is very important. This is well, it's not really important, but it's lemon basil tea. I love it. It's to keep me refreshed. All right, so the last thing we need to talk about is our pots and our soil. So, taking a note from Cajun Chuck, I'm using the largest pot that I have. Well, other than putting them in my fig pots. But these being so young, I feel pretty confident that I'm going to have to protect them, probably move them into the garage during the winter. So, 4 gallon pots for these air layers. My soil mix is a little different than what I have seen on others. Y'all, I'm in East Texas. I also have a very well established raised bed garden, and I use some locally sourced garden soil as well as potting soil. They are, if you're in East Texas and you happen to know where Big Sandy, Texas is, this soil is composted, packaged, processed, everything in Big Sandy, Texas. I've had lots and lots of luck with it in my raised beds. Now, what I do for the fig pots. I typically mix this a little more than half with the potting mix, and then the rest with the garden soil. And then I use perlite to taste. I add a lot of perlite for these fig pots just because I want that drainage. I don't really measure this out to give me an exact ratio of garden soil to potting soil. If I had to guess, I would say 60 to 70% potting mix, and the other 30 to 40% would be garden mix. And then, like I said, perlite to taste. I just go until it looks really light and fluffy so that I know that I get the drainage that these fig trees are going to need. All right, let's get down to the nitty gritty, the surgery, if you will. Y'all, I'm going to sanitize my pruners. I'm not the best at doing this. I know it's important, especially when we're talking about cutting air layers, cutting into fig trees, cuttings in general. We don't want to spread any kind of diseases or anything. I have this little dispenser here, and the alcohol comes to the paper towel. So hopefully you can see that. And I'm just going to rub that on, make sure this is all well sanitized before I go cutting into this fig tree. Now, let's take a look at the roots. This one I'm going to cover back up. I'm not ready for him. I'm going to let him go another week, maybe two. I will get some water on him here in a minute, but I'm going to take this soil pod off and we're going to see just what this looks like and how easy this little plastic soil pod comes off. I'm going to try to zoom in on this so you guys can see one set of tools I forgot, pair of snippers to cut the little zip ties that I had to use on some of these soil pods to hold them together. But first things first, what I learned from Homer, Cajun Chuck, Figgy Ed, I'm going to cut this right below this soil pod. Only get one shot at this on camera. Again, y'all saw me sanitize these um, pruners. Y'all put your hand on the comment button for when I forget to sanitize them when I move to the next tree. I want you to leave me a comment and call me out on it. So be prepared because it's probably going to happen. Okay, here we go. One shot at this on camera. Here we go. And one smooth cut. And there we go. All right. So cut it off right below the pod. Um, does have sap flowing. Luckily, I didn't get that on me yet. It wasn't bleeding just yet. So there is my air layer. Very cool. So I'm going to put a little bit of wax on the end of this to protect it. I don't want it to dry out, get any disease, so I'm going to protect that. But let's get this soil pot off, see how easy that is to get off, and we'll get this one in a pot. Now for the reveal, I'm going to try to get this soil pod off. We'll see how easy this is. This is part of my experiment. Do I like the soil pods better? I see lots of people using these now. The ones I have these little buttons that are supposed to snap together. They don't snap together very easy. They make a different one that I've recently found that has a little clasp, if you will, built into it. I think I might try those if I decide that the soul pod is the way to go. But let's go ahead and pop this open and see just how easy this all comes apart. Whew, I may need a screwdriver or something. Well, there it was. Wasn't too bad once I got the leverage. So, okay, so this side came out. Oh, it all came out really easy. Hey, I like that. Wow. Y'all, check this soul ball out or root ball out. That looks so good. Okay, so now we've got him out. We've had the big reveal. Let's get him in the pot and prepare him for growth. We talked about the fertilizer that I'm going to use. Again, this is organic fertilizer. I'm not going to burn this plant. It's going to break down over time. One thing that Homer and Cajun Chuck talked about too was kind of the level that you put your tree in. I think I was talking with Cajun Chuck on the comments, and the theory is it's small. We're going to put it in this bigger pot. We're going to let it root out over the rest of the fall. And this winter, or maybe even first part of spring, we'll just lift him up out of this pot, add more soil to the bottom of the pot, and then put it back in. And essentially, you up potted. So that's my plan. I notice I've got, I don't know, 2.5, 3 inches from the top. And then I'm going to make a little indentation right here. And I'm going to then fill in around him. And I will add a little soil too. Now, the other thing is make sure that he's centered up in the pot. And this one, if you notice, he's got a little, he's not perfectly straight. So I'm going to set him in there so that he is pointing straight up. Let me get it. There we go. And y'all, I'm on a side of a hill, so it may not look exactly straight to you guys, but that is straight. Let me get a little bit more soil. I'm going to add a little soil to this just to top it off around it. But before I do that, let me mix in my fertilizer. Again, I just mix it up in this bag. And then what I'll do is scratch that in. And then when I add some soil on top of this, a little bit of soil on top of this, that will begin to break down. So I'm going to get a little bit more soil on top and we'll be good. This guy will be ready to go for the fall. Hopefully, he is set and ready to take off come spring. Okay, so I want to do one more. I wanted to show y'all the one that's literally busting the pod open. Um, just because it's crazy, right? I mean, the roots are so wild on this one. I'll do the rest of them off camera. I am going to, almost forgot. I should have gone ahead and let y'all send me a comment. Maybe you can give me a comment for congratulating me on remembering to sanitize my pruners. So got those sanitized. I'll let that dry for just a second. Alcohol doesn't usually take very long to dry. Okay, so I'm gonna have to be real careful with this one. I don't want the pod to come off, without me being ready. So hopefully y'all can see that. And I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to cut just below this soil pod right here, and then we'll pull the pod and get it planted. Okay, so here we go. I think y'all can see that pretty good. This one's kind of in an awkward position, but I think I'm in there where I need to be. And there we go. So there's my second air layer removed. Oh, look at the roots on this one. This is the Pro Mix as well. This is the half girdle. Now that girdle is not on this side. The girdle is actually on this side of the air layer. This was the bottom. This is where all that moisture was settling, and man, the roots have just gone bonkers. But let's go ahead and get this soil pod off, and I'll get him in the pot and then I'll do the rest of these off camera and we'll touch base again when I've got them all done. Same process we're going to do here. I'm going to pop this pod off. Um, Gosh, y'all, this is just crazy. I don't know how it didn't come off. I did not have any zip ties on this one. I'm probably pretty lucky that it didn't pop this little button up here, but let's go ahead and get this off and try to get this pod off of him. Ooh, kind of sounds rough, but it's not. There we go. So that is working very well. I'm happy with that. Look at that. Look at those roots. Absolutely insane. Gosh, I'm loving this. Air layering may be my new favorite hobby, but I'm going to do the same process here. I'm just going to make a little divot for the root ball. Again, it's right in the center. This one is, I don't know if you can tell, but he's a little curved as well. So I'm going to try to keep him as straight as he can. Y'all, I'm very interested to know, are these figs going to fall off? He's got some really nice figs on him. I'm hoping that they don't fall off, but I'm going to add my fertilizer. If I get enough back here. Oops. And I'm going to knock him over. Okay. Got him. I've got him centered. I've got him straight. And then I'm going to add some more soil. Just grab it from this pot back here. I've got plenty more in a wheelbarrow back there. And if I run out of the wheelbarrow, I think I dumped enough of it in my shoe during the mixing process that I can make up for what I don't have. So I have him in there. I have him straight. I will water all of these in as well. We'll talk about that in a few minutes. But I'm I'm feeling really, really good about these air layers. Now the experiment's not over. We'll talk about that at the end. But there's another one ready to go. I'm going to get the rest of these all potted up, and then we'll come back and talk about them when I'm done. There we have it. These are the 5 air layers that I have decided to unpot. They were ready. So here we go. Notice I've got labels in them all. Y'all, that serves 2 reasons. Obviously, I have to know what they are. I don't want to forget which one is which. But more importantly, this experiment's not done yet. I got roots, and that's fantastic. But what from here? Is there going to be a difference now that they're rooted, now that they're up potted? Am I going to see a difference in the different rooting mediums? Am I going to see a difference in the different types of girdling or not girdling? Are these all going to grow the same? Or are they going to grow different? I want to know which works best for me from start to finish. And so that's what I've got them labeled. It has the name of the variety as well as the style, whether it be full girdle, half girdle, or just scratching, and then the different soil mix that I used for rooting. So I just wanted to show y'all they're all done. Now I am going to water these in. I'm going to water them in very heavy. And then I'm going to come back in the next couple of days and I'm going to add some Alaska fish fertilizer just to give them some more nutrients that they really need. And hopefully that will spur on that root growth and get as much root growth as I can before the end of our growing season in a couple of months. I'm going to wrap this up here, y'all. I really appreciate you sticking with me. If you made it this far, thank you so much. Give me a like, a subscribe, drop me a comment. How do you think these guys are going to work? Are they all going to work? Are some of them going to work better than others? I don't know. I will keep y'all all posted. Big shout out to some of my mentors, Figgy Ed for the encouragement to start trying air layers, Cajun Chuck as well, as he has been commenting and helping me understand the things I need to try. And there's really so many more, y'all. The Fig community on YouTube has been fantastic. They are helping me learn and grow and understand figs and all things that I need to be trying. And a big shout out goes to all of the fig community on YouTube. But y'all, this is my fig sticks where fig addiction is a real thing. You just have to embrace it, y'all. Join the Figolution, get you some figs, start air layering. You're gonna get addicted. Thanks for watching. All right, little guys, you're not done yet. Get you some water. Hopefully you've got lots of growing to do.